Hi everybody, I'm Ellary Stanford and Nnamdi now, and I am with my first cousins, Aikens and Alma Monroe. We are here to videograph our family history. We are the fifth generation of the Stanford Page family. My father was Matthew Stanford. He was the oldest of the family. The oldest sister was Alma Monroe. Her name was Mary Lee, but we called her Aunt Mary Lee, and we called her chu-chu. And then, and Aunt Minnie. And then we have Jean's mom, who was Melvia, was her real name, but all of the cousins know her under as Aunt chu-chu. And here in California, she was known as Aunt chu-chu. So we're here with the fifth generation, and we're going to go backwards from our parents to their parents and talk about our family history, which started in Texas. And with that, I'm going to introduce Ms. Jean. I'm going to make it informal so she can talk about where we came from and why.
Well, our great-grandfather and great-grandmother came from Gainesmore. Gainesmore was a little area located on the Canyon River, Canyon Creek actually. The Canyon Creek originated from the Gulf of Mexico around Manitoba Bay. Stephen F. Austin was given a grant. First of all, the Bhimji family, and then the Mexican government upped it to 300 families. And they all settled along the Canyon Creek, the Upper Canyon and the Lower Canyon. The great-grandfather was a foreman at the Thompson Plantation. And all the children, of course, were born there. And eventually, after the Civil War, he was able to purchase some land, about 200 acres, I think it was, on the prairie. Well, Texas is like the prairie. Well, anyway, the family moved there. But he didn't move there. He stayed on and worked on the plantation so that I guess he could pay for it. Well, Debbie and I have found out that after his death, he still owed about $3,000 on the property. So the family stayed on, taxes were paid, and whatever else needed to be done. And we still have that land today. Thank goodness that we've been able to hold on to it for this amount of time, considering the fact that we had purchased it immediately following the Civil War, when a lot of things were going on, especially in Texas. So anyway, from there, many of the children left the area, went elsewhere because of jobs, of course, because cotton wasn't so plentiful in the 1870s, so they had to find some other means of providing for their families. Two of the children stayed on, however, on Buckner Square, and that was actually three. That was Mama Annika, that was Uncle Richard, who was the preacher in the family, and Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom had one child. He was married to Aunt Isetta. Mama Annika didn't, she had two children, Cousin Beulah and Thema Woodard, the one that raised me. And then Uncle Richard had one daughter, we called her Nina, but her name was Melvia. So they farmed little pieces of land that enabled them to have enough money to actually pay William Page.
So that's grandmother.
Right, it's our grandmother's father. Okay. And they, of course, had to borrow money from the general store in order to make it through the winter or to buy seeds so that they could plant their cotton or corn or whatever it was. And I have some receipts from where they did borrow from the general merchandise store that date back to I guess about 1907. Right here. And where, however else. Other thing was that they had to buy some horses, and I have a receipt where they had to purchase a horse for, I think it was like $75. Well, they had to have those horses in order to pull the plows or whatever else they needed in order to take care of their farm. So, yeah, the old sale.
One is in great stable there.
Yeah, and $70 that they paid for it.
They were businesses. They
Oh,
hung on to the
very
receipts.
definitely.
I'm still looking for some of my receipts for
And when-
income tax
when
for
they
this
went-
year.
yeah.
7 years, 100 years. How about that?
Amazing. Yeah, that is amazing to think that you could have, and that they thought it was important.
Well, I guess it was important.
They hung on.
They had to keep up with what they were doing. They didn't want the white man to take stuff from them.
That's the other thing I wanted to ask. So the families that got to settle on changing, were they African American, were they black family, colored people? They were
Most of them, yes. Most of them were slaves, actually, that had been brought over to Texas because of Stephen F. Austin's grant that the Mexican government had given them. And they brought their slaves with them into Texas. They could do that. They could bring their slaves with them.
from Mexico or from other parts of
From
other parts of the U.S.?
From Virginia and Alabama. Okay. And that's why Uncle Bubby, her dad, went to Alabama to see if he could trace the family back into Africa.
So we have two lineages from Alabama. So we have
Right.
Daddy's mom and then Daddy's dad.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Daddy's great.
Your dad's dad settled in Upper Queens, in a little area that's called Denver, and he bought 480 acres of land, which meant that his land actually spread all the way to the back of what the Pages had. The Pages had land that had come from like the Raft plantation. And it was all in one, but your dad's people, their land was kind of divided up. I guess he actually divided it for the benefit of his children. He gave all of his children like 20 acres of land, and that's the land that your mom gave me. So yeah, and we're still paying taxes on that land as well. And as a matter of fact, a few years ago, Alma and I tried to stop the sale of a part of that land that was up for share sale in Bay City. So we sent Anthony and another cousin to the courthouse to try and bid on the land. But the bid got so high that we knew we couldn't afford it,
So because of some kind of law, whatever, they have the right to do that.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if they really have a right to do that without actually consulting consulting those people who are left like us.
Right.
They should have consulted us, I thought, for putting it up for share sale, so we could maybe pay the taxes on it and kept it from being sold.
So all of this, the seven, the plan and the seven happened after the emancipation.
After the Emancipation Proclamation,
Because that happened in 1863. So they came here, they came to Texas.
no, that happened before. They came to Texas before the Emancipation Proclamation.
So they stayed on the plantation after that, and that's when they acquired this land.
Right,
Okay, I
exactly.
just want to be clear in my head. Okay.
That's when they acquired the land after the Emancipation Proclamation. Because that part of Texas was the last one that found out that the Emancipation Proclamation had taken place.
Right. We were already a year behind.
Yeah, exactly.
It was.
Exactly.
That's why they have chance to.
Right, that's what we have to do. But this was even after Juneteenth.
No, they found out that's what Juneteenth is all about.
Yeah, so as the story goes for Juneteenth, the Emancipation Proclamation happened, for whatever reason, decided not to tell this free. So, the government sent General, what's his name? Varner through Galveston to the main port. And there's a place called Asheville, and that's the place still standing there. Where he actually read the Emancipation Proclamation.
Right, and the building still stands.
The building is still there. And it's even in use.
Yeah.
So that's why Texas celebrates.
Well, there are a few other states too. More and more states are beginning to celebrate it as well. But that has been, since we were so far, I guess, along the Gulf of Mexico, we didn't get the news. Somehow or another, we didn't get the news.
Yeah, that's a whole story.
They didn't have the internet. Or Google.
No cell phone. You couldn't call everybody, huh?
Nope. Absolutely not. But at any rate, so the story goes on that we were able to hold on to the land. And we're pretty proud about that. Exactly.
Well, one of the things that you told me before the conversation that I think is wonderful that we
10 of them. And then the grandfather, William, had 4 children before he married Mama Lee.
Okay.
Okay. So, in all, there were 14.
That's why they tell us, ask people where they from, who they're related to.
Yeah, well, you know, many of the people back then, they had more, they married more than one time, because usually one of them didn't last very long. It was time for them to have a second. So I do remember the other, his oldest son, that his name was Melvia, too. He was writing back on the house, back and then there was another one that lived in, I guess, Lashes or something like that. And some of them had moved up to Michigan. Like, that were our relatives. Yeah. And then the oldest one of Mama Lou's son had a stroke right out there on the 5 years. Yeah, that was that.
That was Uncle Pat that had the store, and that's where Pat was, my sister. Pat.
Right.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
sister Pat
Mhm.
was there with Aunt Mary and Pat, right
Yeah,
at the
well,
store.
Pap was dead because Pap died when I was like 4 years old. I remember, he had been in a car accident and he never made it out of the car accident.
Was that older?
With Pat, my sister Pat. Now Pat is younger than me.
Yeah,
She's younger than you.
But she and Jean played together on the prairie.
Right. Yeah. See, there was a house right in front of where the home place was, we went to when we had our family reunion. There was a house there, a little one bedroom house. I remember when Pat came to
And they had the hogs. I remember my mother talking about the hogs.
Oh.
And killing them when we had good eating.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when your mom came down for, I guess it was for Mama Lee's funeral, I must have been, one was 3 and one was 4. I don't remember which one, Uncle Pat or Mama Lee had died when I was either 3 or 4. Okay. And your mom was down and they were killing this hog, and when they killed the hog, they had to let the blood, I guess, get out of the hog, but anyway, they hung the hog on this tree to let the blood drip out, and in the meantime, they took the liver and they put it on sticks like you do marshmallows. and then they just kind of roasted that on the fire while they were waiting for the water to get hot.
Wow. Sounds like good eating, huh?
Oh yeah, it was good eating.
So then Mama Lou, who was our grandmother, William, Mama and Mama Lee, and then Mama Lou, which is her daughter. There was Mama Lou.
She loved her son Mama Lou. Little Galveston lived here with them.
So you were there.
Very, no, she died when he was what? But they say that Alma was very much like
That's our father.
all of us. Children, nobody's gonna bother her.
They would be well taken care of.
So good.
And they were.
Did they go back? No, I know that Mama Lou and Mama in Galveston. They had she married Stanford. I was little, and they moved to Galveston. I know she died in Galveston in the house that we grew up in. How many generations did you say lived in?
One, two, three.
My father did not know. And I remember my first child I had in that house.
Okay.
And I remember him
So
saying,
that's 4 generations.
yeah, Marla was born in that house. But I remember him saying like 2 deaths and 3 births
Mm-hmm.
in that house. So for him it was, it was really hard for him to leave it and move to the other house.
I can imagine
But,
so.
Well, one thing I think about all these people is that there was a tremendous love and care for them. They saw about each other, and nobody did without.
Right. Oh no.
If there was a child that needed help, they did about it. And I think that's still what every country is
I thought it was very much like that. And I know that I had from him. No, go.
My mother would go there and comb her hair.
Every day. That's what Ken said. Every day. He would go to the hospital and comb her hair.
And your father helped to take care of me when I was washing clothes, not those kind of tasks. But it looks like our family, that's the way I love it.
Because my mother said that, she said, the only thing that Daddy could do for a child, she could do for a child, was raise. He could do anything for a baby that she couldn't do, except pray. That was the only thing he could do. But then he was the oldest son. And he took care, he could cook.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, he took care of his sisters. They have a strong love for each other.
Yeah.
All of them had a very strong love.
Now, my mother was way out there and just living, doing domestic work and da-da-da-da. But he people gave her something like a nice man's hot hat.
She said
was
it's
fixing it. Send this to my brother. He'll
That
look
might
good in
be-
this hat. Yeah, he's gonna look good.
And sent it to him.
Yeah. And so I always appreciated the love, and I always tell you that my mother thought the sun got up and dried on her mother. They were sisters. I said, when the sun came up, it came up and shined. Oh,
Right.
So somehow they established a tremendous love. I think that's so wonderful. Children instill that type of love with the brothers and sisters. So they're I don't know how many miles it is from here to Texas. Okay.
to be exact.
That love was there, that care was there, and never have I heard a derogatory word that I can remember in my mother's mouth about her family.
Nobody else should ever say anything derogatory either.
About there was a tremendous love and respect. And I don't know where, I don't know how they did it. I don't know where that strong
Probably take it and kill it and eat it himself.
Who was Tom?
Why Uncle Tom?
No, Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom was her brother, but she did not want her chicken to be sent by Uncle Tom.
She wanted to have a chicken tonight.
Yeah.
Because Uncle Tom was going to eat it. Oh my goodness. That is hilarious.
Oh, she was too funny.
So why did people move to Galveston?
Well, work, mainly work. As I said before, cotton kind of went down a little bit after the 1870s, and they had to have some way of paying for that land that they were, older people were living on. So they went to Galveston. The waterfront was a beautiful thing. Everybody walked on the waterfront. You go to the country, go to Rouce, the Gardenhire, and work on the waterfront. They were like foremen down on the waterfront, so they could easily get jobs, where they could work 2 or 3 days a week. That's all they needed for them to survive. And not only that, but when you come in from the waterfront, they would bring like whole stalks, plates, whole 100 pounds of sugar and stuff and rice. They would bring that home, buy it, and buy it.
I remember that. I remember even they did that even when I was little. Daddy would bring rice, corn, all those things. I remember, packing.
Exactly.
A little bitty, so we always had cornmeal, rice, sugar cane, and yeah, you're right. So they brought all this stuff off of the ship.
Syrup and stuff. Yeah, they brought all that off the ship.
Tremendous pride too in having that job.
Mhm.
That was a big job.
It was.
Yeah,
It really was.
And it paid good money.
Yeah, good money at that time.
Yeah.
Well, even now, it still pays good money, you know.
Even though it's not as labor intensive as it was.
Right.
So our generation, so they went to Galveston and worked, and then your parents got to be old, and we decided they would stay in Galveston.
There was
Well, it was the war. The war, they needed better jobs. Especially on the way. That's why they went to California.
So they were probably looking for a way to survive and to make it.
And then, see, their boyfriends had probably told them about, you know, living conditions in California, which would really beat Galveston, so, and you know, they want to come.
The other thing is that, you know, they, like you said about family, when a child came into the world, if they felt like the person needed help, they didn't have any problem saying, I'm going to take care of this child.
Oh, no.
You get yourself together. You do what you got to do.
Child.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I think that there was a feeling that if they helped you to make you work with the child, that you could move up
And do that.
Right.
go to school, or you could work, or you could buy something to you to make life better. Because I think the war was a period where things went down. Farming, the land the way it did. People weren't making money on the land the way they were during that period of time. And so it was probably like sending people to college and sending university.
Right.
But they will help you with the children. Luckily, we haven't had to do a whole batch of that in our generation. But we had to do some.
Yeah.
We had to do
some.
some. Helping the younger babies make sure that they make it, and that the parents can do it.
So let's talk about Stanford's son. So how did Louisiana, her name was Louisiana, and both of us names, my middle name is Louise, after my grandmother.
And her name.
And her middle name is Louise. And the story that I know is that my father, when I was born, wanted to name me Louisiana, like my grandmother, and my mother said, I'll take Louise. But I will not take Louise. And I can only say, thank you. So, yeah. And I was named, and my first name is Ellary, which is after my uncle Ellary, which is my father's grandfather, my grandfather's brother.
Right.
So there was Ellary, there was Papa Phil, who was our grandfather, Uncle Ellary, and who else? There were like 13 of them.
Oh, I don't remember their names right offhand. I do have a
Oh,
copy
you know
of
what?
it in the
There's
Bible.
Edward. There was an Edward. There was a Michael. There was some of my siblings are named after those inside of the family.
Yeah. You're right. There were about 13 of them. It's a matter. Yeah.
Yeah, about the Rouce.
Yeah, I was looking at the history of Matagorda County the other night, and I came across this lady by the name of Patsy Boone that had a grandson who was a POW.
Really?
Yeah, during the let me get it straight now. During the Korean War. Korean War? No, it was during the Vietnamese War. Because actually we have two of our cousins that were killed during the war over in that part of the world. But this one, this POW, there's now a highway that is named for him.
Really?
Yeah, you know where the Four Walks are? Right there in Cedar Lane? Well, the highway that goes from there to Bay City was renamed in what? I can't remember what the year was. But anyway, it was renamed Joe Parks Highway because as a soldier, he had been in the service only about what? No, he had been in the service about 20 years, and they were involved in a skirmish, and the Viet Congs took him as a prisoner of war in I think it was 1964, and then I guess they killed him, or he died from malnutrition or whatever. And they didn't really learn that he had passed until 1967. But his wife lived in Bell Bottom, which is the area of Caney Creek as well, and he had one daughter. But yeah, there's quite a write-up on him on the internet.
And that brings me to you said that you have a letter from who is it? Which one of the presidents about? Was it Roe or one of our family members that passed away? And they wanted the government was saying.
Oh yeah. That was World War One.
World War One.
Okay. That was our Uncle Jack. Oh, here's a letter right here from the Treasury Department in Washington, D.C. To Mrs. Lee Page, Cedar Lane, Texas. You are hereby that your claim for burial. See, she had written to the government wanting them to pay for the burial of Uncle Jack. And they were saying that they were going to send her the amount of $15. Sum of $15. And I guess the rats must have eaten part of this off or whatever. Anyway, but they weren't going to give her any more money. But finally, they did, give her more money, and they send her a check every month for having
it was a wonderful
lost.
thing that she got something.
Yeah. But see, what happened was that he had died of, what do you call this disease? It's a kind of flu that people get.
Dysentery?
Dysentery? No, some other kind of flu that you get. But anyway, he died while he was stationed right there in San Antonio actually. But, and they said that since he had not died as a result of fighting in the war, that they weren't going to give her this money that she was asking for. But eventually they did give her some money.
And she had her little check, and they thought it was a good thing. Jack gave his mama a little check. By that time, her husband was dead. She needed a little check.
Yes, she did. $15 was a lot of money in those days.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
But
It bought some things, I guess.
now the Booth family, I don't know if they served in the war like the Page family, but there were a lot of Pages when I
Uncle
looked at
Ellary did. Uncle Ellary served in the army.
Papa Phil did too.
Did he?
Actually, I did. Yeah, Papa Phil was in the war, and yeah. Actually, because I looked on that Ancestry.com and I found his World War One. Or was it World War Two? No, that was two. So Papa Phil was in World War One. I found his draft record.
His what?
His draft record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Papa Phil did serve. I don't know if any of his brothers did. At least said Uncle Ellary did. So.
I know Uncle Ellary did because after Uncle Ellary got out of the war, then he came and he lived with
Daddy.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember him living with you guys.
Do you remember?
I remember him by the time I was born. So my name is Ellary because I'm the fourth child, and Matt and Michael had been born, then Milton had been born, and you know, you got godparents. Dad and Mom had been married 10 years before they had any children. They had 8. So by the time I was born, or being born, when Mama got pregnant with me, Uncle Ellary said, "That's my baby. You're going to name that baby after me."
Oh,
And then started, you know, doing some things to help contribute to saying, "This is my child." So she had full intention of naming me Ellary, but Ellery is the masculine spelling of it. So because I was a girl, it came out Ellary. So that's why, yeah. So I remember going to his house. I remember him just tall. I remember Papa Phil too. I remember him. But he was always sitting in that chair out in his lawn, in his front yard, with this white straw hat on. It was a flat. You remember the flat straw hats on? But he was just this tall, lanky, red man that was there. Just as pleasant as he could be. Yeah.
Well, you know, he and Papa Philip were so much alike, you could hardly
Tell the difference. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that red look runs
That
all the way
Indian
through
look.
till now.
Yeah.
That red.
Yeah. But that Boone married an Indian woman, right?
Right.
And those are the children. So I think that the tallness, because Edward is like that. Edward is red. He has red skin tone and red hair.
You're right.
So, yeah. Yeah, it does run through.
The family, a lot of them have that reddish or blonde look.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they used to call Ethel red. Uncle Bubby had that bad red. She was called red and I was called Black Al.
That's what we love.
I know.
And I have actually connected with some Boones in Galveston.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, I would like to know, as I said, I'm being redundant, but I'd like to know more about that. I know very little about Boones. I didn't even know the word Boone. I didn't ever hear people use that word. Did you ever hear that much? The last name?
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, see, I went to school down there, so I had, the Boones were teachers. Yeah, where I went, there were like 1, 2, 3. My second grade teacher was a Boone.
Your relative. This was your relative.
My relative.
That's something. That's neat. That is neat. And see, there's still, and now there is still 4 or 5 generations down. There's still loads of teachers.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the only thing is that they did not have children like the Pages. You know, they didn't have a lot of children, so that made, I guess, a big difference in, you know, us being connected to them. like family should be.
And that's what I was thinking, probably because we grew up. I remember meeting some people. I remember this lady. I never will forget. Daddy saying, "That's your cousin," and on the Stanford side, and I was like, "Oh hi, I didn't know Ellary." She said hi. She went on her way, but the Pages did have this pull. They had this "you are family" pull. You know, they just kept you engaged.
Right.
Where I guess the Boones were more
Because what's that man's name that used to live on 98 in Van Ness? 98 in Crenshaw, off of what?
No, I'm thinking Petaway.
No.
On off.
No.
Was it a Boone?
No. A little man, nice hair, drove the bus. He drove for Metro.
He was related?
Huh? Yeah, he was related.
And Elaine said there was a guy who lived down the street from her that was a Boone.
Oh yeah, Shedrick.
Yeah.
Shedrick.
No, that
Hawkins,
was the law
actually.
with Cousin Phoebe.
Cousin Phoebe's nephew.
Yeah, the reason I said Pettigrew is that was hit my mind from Cousin Phoebe.
Right.
Cousin Phoebe always connected with Pettigrew.
Yeah, on that side of her
Hawkins.
family.
Remember Cousin Phoebe? She was here for so many years.
But Cousin Phoebe was also related to us on the Hawkins side, which is the Boone side.
So that was my connection with the Boones. I didn't get the Boone connection. I didn't know.
Now, is Tiny on the Page side or the Boone side?
Tiny and Annabee's on the Boone side. Tiny and Annabee was, what was her name? The one that kept Ethel and Ruby for a while. I can't think of what her name is. I think her appropriate name, her real name was like Badging somebody or badging somebody.
I think you're right, Jean, and I think that's the lady that brought Betty when Betty came back, when Betty was sick.
No.
That wasn't one that Betty rode with.
Betty came back with a Sydney.
With the sick.
I remember when Betty came back and I was all mad because Betty was leaving me. I was like Joyce was.
And I
Well,
thought,
go ahead on that.
I thought when Betty came that she was like the princess. Like now they have these princesses that come. When Betty got out of that car, and I said, "Look at this! This is my sister. She's a princess." She had little gold rings on. Oh my goodness! And because she had traveled by car. This was a big deal to me, coming all the way across from Texas and coming to California in a car.
Those were the Sydneys.
Yeah. Then they brought her, and I said, "You rode how many days?" I mean, it was just like, I thought that was the biggest deal in the whole world.
That was a big deal.
But see, she left you and she came to me. So I had a playmate.
That was a real big deal.
I thought that lady, I just remember them coming, bringing her in the car, and her getting out. She had little gold earrings, and she was dressed up. I guess you're right. When kids go on a trip, people do dress them up, right? So she got out, and we just thought, what?
Just like that every day.
She could eat fried chicken the whole way.
And boiled eggs.
Fried chicken in a little case,
Yeah.
right?
They used to put that lunch in a little shoebox, right? A little box like that. Fried chicken,
That's right.
hard-boiled eggs, and your pound cake.
And pound.
And how you stayed that many miles, because there was no place for you to stop, right?
Right.
Nobody
You
was
couldn't.
letting you stop and go.
Not in those days.
Nope.
You didn't do that.
You better keep riding.
Yeah. So that was the gift
Right
that
on
came
driving.
to Maple Street in Monrovia. So we let her be the queen of that street for a long time. That lasted a long trip. She was about 6, I guess.
She was probably tired.
Tired of riding in the car.
Yeah, but anyway, Isaiah was married to Karan, how do you pronounce it? Karankaros Indians. Those were the same Indian that they were trying to protect those who wanted to settle in Texas. They were trying to protect them from those Indians. But Isaiah married one of those Indians. Well, I guess rightfully so, because you know, he and his brother, that was Papa Phillip's grandfather.
Oh. You know, Jean, you've got wonderful information. I can see why you became a history teacher. You are a family historian because you've got a wealth of knowledge that I don't have.
Anyway,
he and his brother were with that prairie.
He and his brother were on their way to Texas.
I thought that was Elijah Boone. Who was from Alabama on their way.
Isaiah. I think his name was Isaiah.
Okay.
You could be right. His name could be Elijah. Okay. But anyway, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah. So he's the one who married
the Indian.
Yeah. And we don't know if were they Choctaw?
No, they weren't. They were Karan. That's what I'm trying to pronounce. Karanthas, Karanthas, something.
Where's my phone? We're gonna Google.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Check it out.
I want to find out. Because I haven't heard of those kind of Indians.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They were the ones that settled in Texas. As a matter of fact, he and that wife were the ones who gave the acre of land to build that church.
For the Boones?
That church in Lenville?
Yes, this one that's still there.
Yeah, the church that's